The emotions are running high as one of baseball's biggest stars has finally spoken out about the trade that changed everything, and his message to his former team pulls no punches. Years after the blockbuster deal that sent shockwaves through the sport, he's setting the record straight, revealing how that move fueled his drive and reshaped his entire career. The tone is raw, honest, and filled with competitive fire, a reminder that behind every trade headline, there's a story of pride, motivation, and unfinished business. Fans are buzzing, analysts are dissecting every word, and this revelation is reigniting one of the most debated deals in modern baseball history. Stay tuned, because this message isn't just personal, it's powerful. If you're a Dodgers or Red Sox fan, this story is going to hit deep. Because Mookie Betts has finally said what's been on everyone's mind for years, and his words aren't exactly soft. This is the kind of message that turns nostalgia into tension, the kind of statement that reminds everyone that baseball isn't just a game, it's business, loyalty, and pride colliding in the most dramatic way. So before we dive into the emotional, fiery words Mookie just unleashed about the Red Sox and that infamous trade, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the bell so you never miss any breaking MLB updates, drama, and deep dives from around the league. Let's take it back for a moment. February 2020. The baseball world shook when the Boston Red Sox traded Mookie Betts, the face of their franchise, their 2018 MVP, the man who brought them a World Series, to the Los Angeles Dodgers. It wasn't just a trade. It was a statement. The Red Sox were stepping back, cutting costs, and letting go of one of the best players of this generation. And while the Dodgers celebrated the deal of the decade, Boston fans felt betrayed. Some were angry at ownership. Others were heartbroken. And Mookie, the player caught in the middle, stayed quiet for years until now. Recently, Mookie Betts sat down and finally opened up about that moment, that trade, and how it changed everything for him. What he said wasn't filled with bitterness, but it carried weight, truth, and yes, a little sting directed right at the Red Sox organization. According to Mookie, it wasn't just about baseball. It was about feeling undervalued. He said, in simple but cutting words, that Boston didn't believe in him enough to build around him. That they didn't see the long-term vision he saw. That they looked at the money before they looked at the man. And when a superstar feels like that, you know it burns. He explained that he loved Boston, the city, the fans, the atmosphere, but the decision from the front office made him realize something important. Loyalty in sports isn't always mutual. When asked if he would have stayed if the Red Sox had shown more commitment, Mookie didn't hesitate. He said, "I wanted to stay. I gave them a chance. But they didn't want to meet me halfway." That single line has Red Sox Nation reeling again. Because after all the PR spin, the front office explanations, and the statements about financial flexibility, it's becoming clearer than ever Mookie Betts didn't walk away. He was pushed out. Think about it. Mookie was just 27 years old, an MVP, a Gold Glove winner, a Silver Slugger, a batting champion, and one of the most complete players in baseball. The Red Sox had every reason to lock him in for life. Instead, they hesitated. They argued about numbers. They acted like replacing him would be easy. And now, 5 years later, Mookie is in Los Angeles, thriving, winning, and building a legacy that's only making that 2020 trade look worse and worse for Boston. He also mentioned that when he first heard about the trade, he didn't believe it was real. He said he thought it was just rumors or off-season chatter. But when the call came through, and he realized the Red Sox were serious, it hit him hard. He said that was the moment he stopped seeing baseball as a family, and started seeing it as a business. And you can feel the emotion in those words. Because even after all these years, the wound still seems fresh. The Dodgers, on the other hand, saw what Boston couldn't. They didn't hesitate. They didn't lowball him. They believed. And within months, they signed Mookie to a massive 12-year, $365 million extension, a deal that now looks like one of the smartest moves in modern baseball. The Dodgers built around him, trusted him, and in return, Mookie gave them leadership, defense, hitting, energy, and a World Series title in 2020. He's been the heart of their lineup, and one of the main reasons LA has stayed dominant year after year. But Mookie didn't just talk about the trade. He talked about how it shaped his mentality. He said the whole experience taught him to stop expecting others to value you the way you value yourself. That quote hit like a thunderbolt. At the end of the day, he said, you have to know your worth. Because sometimes, even when you give everything, some people still won't see it. That sounds like more than just a sports statement that's personal, raw, and undeniably directed toward how the Red Sox handled his situation. And here's the thing: Boston's front office back then tried to paint the move as necessary, saying they needed to reset their payroll, that they couldn't risk losing him for nothing in free agency. But fans didn't buy it then, and they sure don't buy it now. Because franchises as big as Boston don't just trade away MVPs in their prime. They find a way. They figure it out. They make it happen. The Dodgers proved that. Mookie also revealed that when he got to LA, everything felt different. The culture, the energy, the communication. He said, they made me feel like part of something bigger from day one. He went on to explain how the Dodgers leadership, from the front office to the coaching staff, constantly checked in, constantly asked for his input, constantly reminded him that he was valued. That kind of treatment leaves a mark, especially when you just came from a team that made you feel expendable. When asked if he holds any resentment toward Boston, Mookie smiled but paused. That pause said a lot. Then he said, I don't hold grudges, but I don't forget. And that, right there, might be the harshest message of all. Because he's not coming from anger, he's coming from clarity. He's moved on, but he hasn't forgotten how he was treated. And that's a warning shot to any franchise that thinks they can underappreciate a superstar and not feel the consequences down the line. And you can't blame him. Every time he steps into Fenway Park now, the energy is electric and tense. Boston fans cheer, but there's also that uncomfortable realization that he should still be one of theirs. Even some Red Sox players have admitted that facing Mookie feels strange, almost wrong, because he was the type of player you build around, not trade away. But baseball moves on, and Mookie has turned that pain into motivation. He said he learned that sometimes your chapter with a team ends before you're ready. That you don't always get closure. But he also said that Los Angeles became his second chance, his fresh start, and he's grateful for it. I wouldn't change anything now, he said. Because everything that happened brought me here. That line shows growth but also quiet confidence. Because even if the trade hurt, Mookie turned it into fuel. It's also worth noting that he's now in the middle of another MVP-caliber stretch with the Dodgers. His leadership off the field, his versatility playing both infield and outfield, and his consistency at the plate are unmatched. He's proven that his value only grows with time. And when you compare that to the Red Sox, who've been rebuilding, retooling, and struggling to stay relevant in the tough AL East, it's clear which side came out ahead. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Mookie Betts' emotional truth and the lasting ripple effects of that infamous trade, make sure you drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think. Did Boston make the biggest mistake of the decade, or was this just destiny playing out in Dodger blue? Either way, this story is far from over, and we'll be here to break down every twist, every quote, and every unforgettable moment that defines the modern era of baseball. Because one thing's for sure: when Mookie Betts speaks, the baseball world listens. And this time, his words might just echo all the way from Fenway to Chavez Ravine, reminding everyone that greatness doesn't beg for loyalty, it earns it, and it never forgets who turned their back first.